You guys might remember this guy from back in the day, man, in the 90s when he was a Calvin Klein underwear model. Not that you were looking at that stuff, but someone in your life was. I know you remember him from the famous Janet Jackson video, the Herb Ritz video that he did with Janet Jackson, because we were all in love with Janet Jackson at the time. And one of the greatest lines ever in the history of meeting someone is this. This is how I met our special guest speaker today, Antonio Sabàto Jr. I was competing at a bodybuilding contest. It was 1997. And I was there and I was in the aisle, and Muscle and Fitness came up and approached me. I was getting all this attention, but my wife wasn't paying any attention to me. She was like focused on something else. And I walked over, I was excited because I just got an opportunity to shoot a Muscle and Fitness cover that day. And she goes, oh my God, it's Antonio Sabàto Jr. He is so good looking. My wife never says that other men are good looking. It's very rare because she is very, very particular. So she goes, I want to get a picture with him. This is the greatest line I've ever heard from a man in my life. She goes, please go ask him if I can get a picture with him. So I walk up, I said, hey brother, my wife's over there, man. She thinks you're hot as hell. Can she get a picture with you? And he looked right at me and he said, it's your wife. So with that said, man, welcome our special guest, Antonio Sabàto Jr. What's up, my brother?
What's up, everybody? Good morning to everyone. And it's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you.
Brother, I am happy to be here. I just got to ask you, before you get into what you want to share with the guys here today, what was it like, man, working with Janet Jackson? Because I've always wondered, man. I went back and looked at your pictures. I looked at that video. Man, you're just, I mean, I got to tell you, you are one of the most handsome men I've ever seen in my life. I'm not ashamed to say that. In that photo, you and her, man, just looking so amazing. What was that like?
It was great. I mean, I was just pleased and blessed to have the career that I had and I still have right now. And I worked with a lot of amazing people, and she was one of them. And I was extremely young, and like I said, I was very happy and blessed to be working with her, and she's been kind ever since. She's a wonderful person, and that's why she became one of the biggest. And at the time, you know, meeting the biggest star in the world, because she was #1 at the time, and especially in the 90s. And it was great. It was fun.
Yeah. So, brother, I shared with you what we have going on here. I sent you the email about these guys that you're looking at here on the Zoom call. We're all around the same age. We're in our 50s. These guys have said yes to an invitation that I gave on social media saying, hey, come and do a 6-week cut with me. I'm not charging them any money to do this. I just really want to coach them and help them because, you know, I've got some experience. But what I'm doing is I'm calling people such as yourself who've achieved high success in your industry. And I really would love for you to share some things, some principles, because we live by 5 principles here at the Nanotest Performance System for Men. And I shared them with you: mindset, meals, movement, community, and supplementation. With that in mind, what are some of the things that you've learned in your illustrious career that could be applied to what we're doing here in living in our healthiest body?
Well, yeah, from my opinion, I mean, this is just this is my life, and the morals and the guidance that I live by is you got to take care of yourself because no one else is. You live in your body. This is your machine that God gave you, and so you have to respect it and learn about it, and learn about yourself as much as you can. The process of living is about learning yourself. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Things are going to work differently for themselves. Their lives, their relationships, their time, whatever. You know, everything will be different individually to them. But most important thing is to put yourself first, because when you get up in the morning, you got to take care of that machine. And you got to keep taking care of it for the rest of your life. It's never too late. You got to keep going, and you got to drive yourself to be the best, not to compete with others. My thing is, my competition is within myself. I don't compete with others. I mean, when I was younger, I did, but my competition is with life. You know, I want to stay healthy. I want to stay healthy for my kids, and I want to be able to do the things that I want to do. Also, the things that I used to do, I want to keep doing them. I don't want to stop or slow down and let the environment around me slow me down. But as we get older, you lose a lot of stuff. You know, you start losing your testosterone, you start losing this, so you got to keep your machine going. And by having a healthy life, eating right, getting enough rest, having less stress, you know, stress kills a lot of people, man. And then people give up. I have a lot of friends of mine that have given up when they were in their 30s. In their 40s, they're going to give up even more. because of responsibilities, families, whatever, letdowns or things that happen. But like I said, if your machine is not working well, it's not healthy, it's only going to get worse. It's like leaving a brand new Ferrari in the garage. I don't care how good that car is. I don't care how worth, if it's worth $10 million, it's just going to devalue as it keeps going and going. So the drive comes from never giving up and never being second to anyone or anything. This is just my personal thing, and I think everyone should have that. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to get paid millions of dollars to work out. I've been training my whole life. I always do, not for competition, but for myself. Because I see how everybody else is blaming life on so many other things. You got to get up, you got to put on your socks, you got to put on your shoes, and you got to go out there and do it. And you got to prove to the world that you can do it. Because, if you're not doing it, there's some people out there that are doing it. So my first book that I worked on many years ago, a fitness book, was called No Excuses, because we find excuses about everything. And there's millions of them. And as soon as you start living on those excuses, it starts building up. It's like a virus, like a disease. It's like what we're dealing with now, in the world, that you have to slow down because society is telling you, no, you got to keep going. And you got to keep going. I know friends of mine, I've learned from trainers that were in their 80s, still training hard, in their 70s. I've learned from guys that are in their 20s. I've learned from people, from women, from guys. The learning process about fitness, training, eating healthy never stops. You find new things every time. You find new ways of training. I saw things that you guys do over there that I really enjoy. So you got to put all this stuff together and make it work for yourself. And you got to get to know your body. You got to get to know the limits of your body and be able to cross those limits. So it takes time, but you have to put in the time, and you got to put in the care. Do you care about yourself enough? Do you love yourself enough to make that move? And that's a battle that you have to have within yourself. And I tell everyone that, where's the drive coming from? The drive comes from because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose a part of myself. I never really enjoyed training. I put in the time because it's something that I have to do. You don't want to enjoy it. Training is not something you go to the gym and enjoy it. You got to put in the time like it's the hardest thing to do. And then when you get it done, that's the enjoyment, the aftermath. But during and before you actually work out, that's the hard part. That's when you got to push yourself and go, if I'm not doing it, who's going to do it for me? And no one will. And I've learned that. Like I said, I've learned from Bruce Lee. I've learned that from bodybuilders. I learned from people like yourself. I learned from Sly. I learned from Schwarzenegger. I just read a lot of books, and put it together for myself and see what works. Some things work for myself, some things don't. I enjoy training in the morning, because I get it out of the way, and then I have the rest of my day. Sometimes I can't train in the morning, so you got to watch out what you eat throughout the day so you can work out the next day. There's things that you can balance it out. If you don't train today, it means you got to eat better today. If there's no way to train today, then walk, do something, So there's always a way to find out.
Who's the most inspirational? You just rattled off a list of names, and I know these guys are like, wow, he met him, he was with him, he trained with him. Who, in your opinion, is the most inspirational person you've ever been around? And what was it about them that inspired you?
I know a lot of them. Michael Hearn, yourself. These are guys that they just never give up. They never stop training. If they can do it, you can do it. And so, but I also look at another thing. I see certain bodies, like Steve Reeves was somebody that I really looked up to from the beginning. He was a natural bodybuilder. He won everything. He did things that nobody else did at the time. He ate a certain way that I really enjoyed. Like, he had a specific diet that he followed. He liked to train outside at the beach and things like that. So his way of training was really specific to him. I also like Bruce Lee a lot because I like the body that Bruce Lee was able to achieve. I don't want to be big. For me, for my personal body, I want to be lean. I want to be less than 200 pounds. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to fight. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to do my jiu-jitsu. I don't want to get too big. I want to be lean. I want to be less than 200 pounds. My weight is about 180. 175, I get really lean and my face gets lean for specific roles, but 180 is perfect. So I got to know my body. I want to be that, my abs show, everything is healthy, but it's not too skinny where you look, you don't look healthy anymore. And also the energy level at 180 for me is perfect at 6'1". But obviously I could have put a lot of weight. I could have put a lot, for me, going heavy has never been something that I was interested in. I don't want to get too much muscle. I want to be lean. The best bodies that I really enjoyed was Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler. Those bodies are the ones that I want to look like. And the 80s for me was a very important, I was in my teenager years, and Sugar Ray and Leonard and Hearns, those boxers for me were the best. So I looked up to them, and Sugar Ray was my favorite boxer of all time. So I wanted to look like him. How do you achieve it? By doing a lot of cardio, obviously boxing and stuff, quick on his feet. And he looks good today. He looks great today. So like I said, for me, I specifically build it for myself. It might not work for you. See, for me, I don't care how much I bench. To me, it's not important. But if I can do a repetition, or I can go on a run, or I can box for an hour straight, or I can jump rope for half an hour straight, that to me is more interesting.
Yeah, I love that concept, because so many guys are focused on like bodybuilding type of mentality, where I talk about functionality. You have to be a functional human. The other day, I'll give you an example. I opened the door, my little dog ran out, and it was headed towards the street. And there are a lot of cars on the street. I had to, at a moment's notice, take off at a full sprint and catch a puppy. They're not slow. And
right.
Fortunately, I was able to do that, and I was able to cut them off at an angle and be athletic. And that's really what I want to teach guys to do here, brother, is just to be athletes. And I love what you said when you first started. You said, learn yourself. I think that is a very important message for guys to understand, to learn yourself, because too often in this world, it's my opinion that we try and emulate somebody else. We try and be like Mike, or, somebody that we think is the epitome of health. And what you just clearly said was, you don't give a damn about anybody else or anything. You've learned from a lot of different people, and you know yourself, and you've applied it. Is that a correct kind of summary of what you talked about?
Absolutely. And get to know your foods that you put in your body. Everybody reacts differently to alcohol. Everybody reacts differently to carbs. Everybody reacts differently to a lot of protein, to specific protein, whatever it may come from. So everybody's different. So you live in yourself, and you got to ask yourself these questions every day. Who am I? What am I about? How are these feelings? Get to know yourself from specific things you're around, or people, bad environment, good environment. Get to know yourself. What motivates you? What pushes you rather than not? What friends in your life pushes you? If those friends don't push you, get rid of them. If your family doesn't push you, hey, listen, family's everything. But if they're lazy and they bring you down, then you got to move. You got to move somewhere else. And I mean, mentally, it's all up here, right? It's the mind of that warrior, the mind of, I'm never going to give up, because it's easy to give up. And once you give up and you start putting those bricks on top of the bricks, it becomes a real big wall. And it's hard. It's harder as you get older, obviously. But like I said, I mean, like I look at people and I go, how did this person do it? How did he achieve it? I love competitions. I love the Olympics and things like that. And also like different training, like your training, or race car drivers training, or boxers trainers, or jiu-jitsu trainers. They train differently. And what I like to do is like incorporate everything in what works for me. I did another training the other day. It was great. And I just did it for the first time. I did like, what did I do? I started 200 push-ups. I did 100 pull-ups. I did 1,000 sit-ups, and I ran for 2 miles. Back to back, okay? I never tried it that way. I like to try different things. I did different programs, but that was really challenging. So I incorporated that into my training, especially when I'm on a movie set and I don't have a gym or I'm a location. Those are things that I could do in my room. So you'll always learn, always learning, and always putting it together. And also your diet, specific, like I said, food is everything. What you put in your body is what you're going to look like. So if you're gonna eat certain things, that's how you're gonna look like. And I have a friend of mine who, well, he's family, and he lost 30 pounds in 1 year by basically doing this. It's as simple as this, guys. He lost 30 pounds by running 30 minutes every day, 7 days a week. That's it. And now he's at a perfect weight. He gets up in the morning, he goes for a run, which is like half an hour or whatever it is, gets back home and goes through his day. His diet has changed. He looks great. And that's all he does. And that works for him. So there's no excuses.
Yeah, people are complaining that the gyms are closing, right? We could stand up and sit down 10 times right now, and that's an exercise. You just did 10 squats if you have intention behind it. So you're inspiring guys already, brother. Travis says he's 47 on Thursday, getting back after it. That's the truth. You only have one life to live. I'm going to put myself first from now on, sweating buckets this morning, and we'll do so tomorrow. They want to know how tall. You said 6'1". People love your hat. Do you sell that hat anywhere? Is there anywhere that people can get?
No, this I got from a website, and I can send you the link, but or just look for these hats. But I got one from my girl, because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're by yourself. When you go to sleep, you're sleeping by yourself. Those thoughts that you talk to yourself, you know, I want to look better, but I can't. All these things, the negativity or the positivity is within yourself. So you got to use that energy and go, is it really worth it losing everything, or is it really worth it gaining everything? And also another thing is that people get so they want things right away, right? That's the society we live in. I want to take the magic pill. I mean, and also you want to take the steroids, you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, because you want it to happen today. You got to put in the work. And also another thing, it's not just the work for now or the next 6 weeks or the 12 weeks. It's really the work for the rest of your life. And because it never stops. You don't do a program. A lot of people go, this is another thing that I see a lot. When people go on vacation, they work out. You see that, right? When they go and take a vacation, they go to Club Med or they go to Sandals or whatever, and they're working out in the gym. No, you work out when you're at home and you go to work. And when you're on vacation, you take that vacation, you relax. It's the other way around. People want to look good for weddings. You know, they want to lose weight. And then as soon as the wedding is over, it's like they put that weight back on. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and it's not easy because, you know, we have a lot of bad food. We have too much food in our country. Our country's the fattest country in the world. And these foods that go everywhere around us are very addictive. So there's a lot of challenges that we never had before. And so you got to really understand yourself and learn from the best like yourself, and find a program that works for you that you could do every day. And it's not that uncomfortable. It's not where you're going to hate it so much where you're going to stop. You just got to keep going and keep going. And also the thing is, when you get stronger and you get better and your cardiovascular gets better and you start losing weight, you start feeling better. So you want to do more of it. It's addictive in that sense.
Brother, you just knocked that out of the park, man. I couldn't have asked for a more appropriate message this morning as we're getting into week 2. I want to open it up right now for these guys if they have any questions.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it's your opportunity to ask a legend who's experienced life at the highest level, and he's relied on his fitness. This man has relied on his fitness to do everything that he does in his career. Is that a true statement, sir?
Yeah, man. It's a statement of a lifetime, and I know you do the same.
Yep. Anybody got any questions? You can.
I had a question. What is the hardest thing for you to give up?
Well, it really is. For me, I've been doing it for so long that I really never gave anything up because I just know myself too well. You know, I've been fortunate enough that my parents were very active. I enjoyed sports at a young age. So the things that you're talking about, the going out, the alcohol, whatever it may be, or the fun times or whatever, they're not important to me. They really aren't. I mean, spending time with my family is important, but being active with the family is more important. So for me, I never really gave anything up because I knew those things would affect me the next day. You know, I never was one to stay up too late or party and things like that because it affects my mornings and affects my routine. So, and I know what I have to pay, and you always got to pay that price. If you put something bad in your body, you're going to pay the price. If you put something good in your body, you're going to pay a good price. So I kind of got rid of those things and the friends and the negativity and the stress. I even moved to another state because I just couldn't live in California anymore. For me, I enjoyed living in Florida. But like I said, if you don't like your lifestyle, your surroundings, take an evaluation and look in the mirror and go, what kind of life do I want to live? Where I want to be tomorrow? Because if you stay in a huddle right there, you can't really see the field and you can't really play. So broaden up your horizon and keep pushing, and don't think about it as giving up. Think about it as I'm a better person knowing that stuff is bad for me. I don't do it anymore. I'm a lot wiser, and I'm not a sheep.
Boom. So the website is lionnotsheep.com. And someone asked, Neil wants to know what you would describe your diet. How would you describe your diet? Just give us one day in the life.
My diet is very much intermittent fasting. I have my coffee in the morning. I'm not a breakfast guy. I wait for lunch or after lunch, after my fast is over, on a daily basis, 7 days a week, and it works for me. So I focus on eating protein, high protein. I stay away from breads. I stay away from sugar and things like that. But sugar would be the main thing that you have to give up, because there's just so much sugar and salt and everything that if you gave it up, you're still going to have it. You're still going to have so much of it. So I like red meat. I like fish a lot, especially living in Florida. We catch our own fish. Yesterday we caught a lot of fish, fresh fish, which was great. And that's it. I stay away from the heavy carbs, and I stay away from eating in the morning.
He's Italian. He didn't do all the pasta and the bread and all the normal Italian stuff, man. So it just goes to prove that conditioned behavior can be changed, because as a person in that culture, right, that is conditioned behavior. That's how you grow up. That's what you know. That's what you live. That's what's around you constantly. And that's what I'm trying to teach, is that we have these conditioned behaviors and beliefs that can be shifted if we really want to live a life that is our healthiest version of ourselves.
I mean, people are living longer nowadays, my friend, and they're living longer because we can. We have so much technology. We have so many things, but you got to be careful. You got to know what really makes it work for you better than other people. And but the knowledge is there, and asking questions is important. And also looking in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror and go, do I want to look like this? This is a personal thing you got to have with yourself. Do I want to keep driving this car? Or do I want to keep making the excuses? Because every time you look in the mirror in the morning, you can change the way you look. Transformations are happening all over the place. Look what's going on with you here. So it happens with a lot of hard work, but then never stops. So look in the mirror every day and go, who I want to be. You know, what kind of superhero do I want to be? Or do I want to be like the rest of the world that gives up and it keeps giving up? And then sooner or later you end up in a hospital. A lot of these people end up in a hospital because they gave up. Never give up until you go to heaven. Never surrender.
So guys want to know how long your fast is and how long do you sleep for?
I don't sleep as much. As I sleep about 5 to 6 hours, which is not much, but because I'm in construction, I do a lot of things. I'm used to getting up really in the morning, and I can't go back to sleep. So 6 hours max is good for me. It's not enough. I wouldn't suggest it for you, but for me, it works. I try to stop eating. My eating window will be from 12 noon to 8 p.m. So that's when I eat. After that, if I eat too much or I eat whatever, I keep my calories in there and my weight in there. And then after 8 o'clock, I try not to eat. Now, if I go out at night or I have events or I have to eat it, you just got to moderate. If I'm going to have, like, for example, yesterday, Thanksgiving, whatever, 2 days ago, it was a big feast. So I waited all day. I even waited longer, and then I enjoyed my food. But like I said, it's just about timing. And for me, it works from 12 to 8, those 8 hours.
Right on, man. Well, any other questions? Last chance, guys, before we let
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
I do. Antonio, the movie Grand Prix is still one of my most favorite movies.
Oh,
and
thanks.
so with it, obviously your father knocked it out of the park. Obviously, he's a good-looking guy as well. You mentioned role models. I mean, I remember seeing pictures of your father, and I think even a movie role where he was in his 50s at least, where he was punching a heavy bag, and he looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what kind of, I guess the example that he set for you in terms of overall fitness and health and the like?
Yeah, my father was very competitive in boxing, judo, and Greco-Roman wrestling, and he was very good at it. And he introduced me to that at a very young age. I remember when I was just about my little boy's age, I think I was about 7 or 6, and we went to a boxing gym, and he threw me in the boxing ring, and he said, "Put the gloves on and move around," and he put another kid in front of me, and he said, "Go at it." That was my dad, and I remember seeing my dad in our balcony in Rome with his bench and his iron, those old weights, all dusty and everything. That's my dad. You know, he never stopped working out. My mother too. Both of my parents. I'm very blessed. My mother still plays tennis. She's still very active, and that's why she's very healthy at her age, because she's always kept moving. You can't slow down. You know, our bodies are like sharks. If you leave it on the bottom of the ocean, they essentially die. And you don't want that to happen. But definitely my parents and my dad have always been active and always working out, always doing something. It's just, you know what it is? You make it such a habit that you have to do it, even if you don't want to. And I think that's the goal, is to create that habit environment that, all right, here we go again. I got to do it again, you know, and I got to do it again. And, but the fulfillment comes afterwards, you know, the glory that you have within yourself that you actually did it when nobody else has done it. It's pretty phenomenal, you know, because, I mean, look, 80% of the people on the planet don't do anything, especially now.
This is good stuff, guys. So what else do we have here? Someone, do you have a mantra? Someone, who is this? Nitsan wants to, do you have a mantra that you live by?
You're not as good as you will be, but you're better than yesterday. That's the way I do it. I live by that. And then I tell my kids, you know, every man has got his limitation, but I don't, you know, it's a mental thing, you know, even though, because your mind will tell you that you can't do it because it's trying to protect yourself. See, when you push, and I mean push every day, your mind is going to tell you, don't do it. Slow down. And that's when you have to overcome it, because your body is designed to protect you. If something is hurting, if something is not working out, it's going to tell you mentally, it's all a mental game, that you can't do it. But believe me, God gave you the best body ever. And I don't care how much you're overweight, you still got a heart. You still got, I mean, I've seen people with no legs, no arms, blind. They still look great and they still work out. So you know what it is? It's a matter if you're willing to go where the lions are willing to go, or you're willing to stay with the sheep. And it's easy to stay with the sheep. You're protected by the sheep. You follow the sheep, and you eat like a sheep. And you know, I like to eat like a lion.
That's a good place to end it right there, my brother. That's a powerful statement. I just want to thank you for your time. Man, I appreciate you so much. I'm going to holler at you later on today. I'm going to get your address, send you some product out. We're going to stay in touch because I know these guys want to hear from you again, man. Thank you, my brother, and make it a great day. Blessings, man. Thank you, guys. I bless everyone, and I see everybody working out and moving. You guys are awesome, man. Keep it up. From the bottom of my heart, keep doing it, man. You guys are astonishing and role models to everyone around the world. Awesome. Let's go. Right on.